Hello, Kimara Hashiv, and you is Misha Joseph. Agus Hami Abrian Gaelic. Hami Abrian. Hami Abrian Gaelic because I have an exam coming up in the next week. And in this exam, I'll have to be speaking Gaelic. So that's why today we're going to do this exercise. We're going to be talking about saying where jobs are carried out. Now, I've written a little bit of grammar here. It's not as complicated as it looks. And the best way to learn grammar is not by studying it, but actually just by using it. So we're going to quickly go over the rules and then we'll move on to using it. So when you want to say where someone works, you say ha plus the person, ac ober, and then you have in a. Okay, it sounds complex, but really it's not. Let's quickly go to these examples. Ha teacher ac ober an in school. A teacher works in a school. Ha nurse ac ober ans an hospital. A nurse works in the hospital. So the rules say that anan for a, ans an for the, and ans a for the. Okay, if it's feminine with an article, starts with a consonant. Ans an, article starts with a vowel. In this case, hospital. But it'll come easily with practicing, so don't worry too much about this right now. We'll just look at a few examples. Here we have Ananalaba in Scotland, Ananerin in Ireland, Anansassin in England, and Ananglascu in Glasgow. So in each of these examples, you can see that the literal translation is in a, okay, but that's not really what we say in English, and the a is easily dropped. So no article, any gender. So that's the equivalent of a. Okay, so that's what we're saying here. So it's not the. I know in some languages, when you talk about places, you put in the, but Ananalaba, Ananerin, Anansassin, Ananglascu. Okay, even though there is an article there, it doesn't translate. It's just in Scotland, in Ireland, in England. And it's saying here, no article, any gender. Okay, but you can see here, because it's written, it does look like it's a little article, doesn't it? But it's not. Right, let's move on. Um, so, ha an cochera ac ober an kitchen. The cook works in a kitchen. As I was saying a moment ago, it's kind of troubling this because it looks like there's an article, an kitchen, but actually that's not the way it is in Gaelic. Uh, you can see here, we're saying that an is no article, any gender, but it does translate into English with the article there. Ha yn cwcyr ac ober ans in kitchen. So in this case, because we're saying there, it actually changes to ans a. Okay, ans a kitchen, and little nights as well. Okay, so here's some common places. So an taiosta in a hotel, ans an hospital in the hospital, because it's the S and the AN, ans a prison in the prison, ans a che kitchen, in the kitchen. Right, now we've got some exercises here that we're going to do. So we just want to have a look at these and go over them. Just before we do that, just for a minute, I just want you to go back up there and just have a look at this and just read through it again because I think it's really important. So if you want just to have another look at that. Right, very good, very good. So you can see there the rules. The rules are very, very clear. Okay, it says an, no article, although it translates to the English article of a, and an becomes the, and ands are becomes the as well. So we're going to try to do these together. So let's just go back down to the exercises. Right, here we are. So you can see there's 9 questions in total. Right, and we're just going to look at the first one. Okay, right. The cook works in a kitchen. So what do you think that might be? So ha and cookere, like ober. Now it's a kitchen, a kitchen. So that tells me it's going to be um an kitchen. A cookere, a kober, an kitchen. Let's see if I'm right. Okay, we just highlight this for a second. Let me see if I can take the highlighting off. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now it says here, being cooked a copper and a kitchen, but that's not right. It's ha. And I know it's ha because be is the future tense. Okay, so it's just there to catch me out. So it's ha and cookere a copper and kitchen because it's a kitchen. Let's try the next one. The teacher works in a school. Okay, it's not the future. Okay, so I know it's going to be ha teacher a copper. What's it going to be? Is it going to be anza, anzan, or an? Well, again, because it's a, I think the answer is going to be a teacher a copper, an school. So let's see if I'm right. Well, that didn't work, did it? Let me try again. Um, I'm useless at using Microsoft Word when it comes to these kind of things. So, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to clear all of this. Right. So again, I know it is definitely the present tense. So it's going to be ha. So that's the first thing I have to correct. So ha and teacher a cooper and in school. Now, um, the reason why there might be some confusion here is because sometimes if we're talking about what somebody does all the time, we can use will and it translates as, yeah, that's what he does all the time. That's his job. Okay. So that's why this is showing as B because it's saying, yeah, he usually does that. But I don't want to confuse you with that right now. I want to keep it simple. So that's why I'm changing these back to ha just for the moment. So the next one, the police officer works in the prison. Okay, so again, ha and okay, it's going to be officer. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to say police. Okay, so ha uh, and police a cover an am prison. Okay. and it's an because it's Okay, so let me just change that. Number 4, the student works in a room, so student is Olenach. So ha Olenach a kober an Shomer. Very nice. I've got that right as well. Um, just change that to ha to make it easier. Like I say, sometimes it's be. If it's a repetitive action that's always done, it's usually the case. Okay. Um, the manager works in the hotel. So ha am manager a cobra and Thai Osta. Thai Osta is the word for hotel. I have a doubt about my own pronunciation of manager there. So I'll need to check on that. Okay, and these are the things that are really useful for me. Uh, that's why I'm going through these so I can check my pronunciation and practice my speaking. The driver works at a station. Okay, so let's just say we'll change that to ha as well to make it easier. Ha and driver a koper ac station. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Probably would get away with B. I'm only changing these, okay, because I don't want to confuse you, all right? But something that's usual is often B. So the doctor works in the clinic. Ha, let's see. Ha and daughter ac oper and in clinic. Okay, that's fine. Number 8 we have here. Um, Ha and it looks like Shiniger. I'll need to check on the pronunciation there. A koper and in Thai Thai Kluche. It's got an E at the end there. So this is a word for theatre. Thai Kluche. Okay, and there is another one there. It's not listed, so we won't bother about that. Okay. So here we have something similar in part 2. Okay. By the way, I'll come back to these once I've checked the pronunciation. Okay, so here's another one. Ha un cookery a kober ans a, and then we have to check what the word is. Well, let's just go back up and see. We know ans a means there, but the question is, how does it change the word kitchen? Ans a kitchen. It causes lenition. Okay, so I just need to um, well, that again didn't work. So I'm just going to highlight all of these to see if I can. Yeah, there we are. So ha and cookery ach ober ansen kitchen. Yeah, we got that right there. Ha and teacher a koper an. It's going to be school, isn't it? Yeah, school. Yeah, there we are. Ha and nurse a koper ansan hospital for that one. Yeah, and it's going to be the S because it starts with a vowel. Um, well, because it's there, but it's ans an because it starts with a vowel. Okay, right. Ha am plysje a koper ans a. Okay, station. Ans a station. Ha am Polish a koper ans a station. Ha een scholar a koper an een school again. Ha am manager. I'm not sure pronunciation. I need to check about that. A koper an. Which one is that? Thai Osta. And in Thai Osta. Ha and driver a kober an. What about this one? An in station as well. Okay. Ha and daughter a kober an in clinic. We're not sure about the pronunciation of this. Shiniger, I think, is what it looks like, but I'll check. Ha and Shiniger a kober an. And it's the theatre, which we saw just a second ago there. I remember the word ends in clwch, tai clwchi. It's got an E at the end, presumably because it's vocative. Ha an nich eilen ac ober. And in the studio, the artist is working in the studio. Okay, so a little bit hard there, but we managed to do them all. Remember, we're just doing this for the purposes of practicing speaking. Okay, so no other reason. And to see how well I can actually match up my speaking with the correct answers. Okay, let's move on. We're just going to do this next part, okay, which is matching the job with the place. So you can see we've got cookery with the kitchen. Okay, so this is the person who cooks. So ha cookery ans an kitchen. Ha teacher an school. So this should be an kitchen, an school. Nurse an hospital. Police an station as well, or maybe the prison. Yeah. Baker an uh, an boo, because boo is shop and it's female. Uh, Model, I suppose. An studio, because if we're saying a studio, it's always going to be an, isn't it? Or am if it's feminine. Olenach an colastru. Not sure how to say that. Let's just say manager, the same as in English for a minute there. Well, that would be the shop as well, which is fine. Uh, Singer, I think, is Cleric, isn't it? If I remember correctly. We'll put them in a studio because I don't see the other one there, the theatre. And driver is going to be in the station as well. So Annan station. Okay, so good. Yeah, a little bit of practice there. But what if we want to say the teacher in the school, the same as we mentioned above? Well, that's where it gets a little bit complicated because you need to know whether we're going to use ans an or ans ah. So let's just come back up again and look at the rules. Starts with a vowel or lenited F. Okay, so an article, a vowel or lenited F, feminine with article and starts with a consonant. Right. So let's have a look for ones that start with a vowel or are lenited. Okay, so ans an hospital is probably a good one. Yeah, so ha nurse ac ober ans. We're saying it's an, isn't it? An hospital. Let's just double check. Yeah, ans an hospital. Yeah. It sounds better, doesn't it, with that over there. A hospital wouldn't quite work, would it? Right. The rest of them, office. So if we're saying the manager, okay, let's put him in the office, okay? Yeah, I think I put him in the shop a minute ago, but it's fine. So, ha manager ac ober ans an office. Ans an office. There we are. Very nice, very nice. So the others with the consonants here are going to be ans Ah, according to this, well, I know that boo is definitely feminine. So if it's feminine, it's ans ah. So that's going to be anzabu. Okay, so ha baker a koper anzabu. Okay, I'm not sure if these other ones are masculine or feminine. Okay, we may be able to get a clue if we've used them before. Yeah, so for example, let me see if we've used any with ands. Yeah, so ands a station, that looks feminine, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, very nice, very nice. So that's another good exercise to practice there. Just in case you're wondering, by the way, about the meanings of some of these cook, teacher, nurse, police, baker, model, student, manager. I'm sure that's singer. Again, I'll have to check, and driver. Okay. Station, shop, hospital, college, prison, hotel, office, studio, kitchen, school. Okay. In case you're trying to up your vocabulary. Right. True or false? Let's have a look at this. And again, handy because we can study these. So, ha a nurse a kober ans a boo. Chanyew. No, that's wrong. Nurses don't work in shops. Ha and cookery a koper ans a kitchen. Yeah, that's true. The cook does work in the kitchen. I think it's actually kitchen is how we say it. Yeah. Ha and teacher a koper ans a frissen, because the S is a sh sound. Does a teacher work in the prison? Well, maybe. Teachers can work anywhere. So ha, no chaneo. That means no means or. So ha no chaneo, yes or no. Ha and driver a koper an station. Okay, we'll say yes to that. Ha a model a koper an studio. Ha. Ha and doter a koper an tai osta. Chaneo. Chaneo. Um, ha and doter ac ober an clinic. Ha and Polish ac ober ans a frischen. Ha, well, yeah, maybe. I'll need to check the pronunciation of this, okay, but it's basically saying, is the singer working in the office? Now, if that's singer, what is that other one that I thought was singer? I'll need to check. Um, I'm not sure. Let's just go back and see. So we know it's, I think the Senator is singer. So what is cleric then? Ah, is that the harpist? I think it might be, because um, it's very similar to the word for harp, isn't it? The harp player. Let's have a look. Cleric. What is that if it's not singer? Oh, I'm wrong completely. It's actually Clark. So this here um, is Clark, and I'm confusing. Do you know what I'm confusing it with? Clarach. I think that's the harp, isn't it? Or something similar. Let's have a look and see. Aha, Klarsach. That's what I was thinking of. So, Cleric is Clark, and Klarsach is uh, some kind of derivative of the word harp. Um, yeah, I'll need to look more into that. But anyway, I've been really confused. Okay, so I'm just writing that there. I knew it was associated with music, but I didn't for a minute think it was Clark. Okay, so um, I'm obviously a bit confused. So anyway, this is why we're doing this. So ha a manager a cobar an in Tai Osta. The manager's in the hotel. Ha and Clark, Clarach a cobar an an office. Um, uh, the clerk works in the office. Okay. So we're saying here, um, can you just move that over a bit? We're going to say ha to this one. Uh, ha and teacher a cobar and in frison. Well, it's possible. So we're going to say yes or no. Ha no. Um, can you yes or no? Ha and driver a cobar and in station. Ha. Ha a model a cobar and in studio. Okay, we'll give her that one as well. So ha ha and daughter a cobar and in Tai Osta. Well, doctors don't work in hotels, so we're going to say uh, hanyo. Han place a cobar and in prison. Hanyo. Ha and Shenager a cobar and an office. I'm really curious about the pronunciation of that word. So let me just see. This is the word for singer. And I'm just going to check the pronunciation. Let's see. Right. There it is. Schneider. Schneider. It sounds a bit like senator, doesn't it? And it means singer. Okay, so ha in Schneider, I go by an office. Well, singers don't work in offices. So I'm going to say Chanel for that one. Ha am manager I go by an entire Osta. Does the manager work in the hotel? Yeah, well, it could be a manager in a hotel. So again, ha no Chanel. Yes or no. Ha and cleric I go by an office. I preferred it when that word meant singer. uh, yeah, clerks work in offices, so you can say ha. Okay. Catchville and teacher a cobar. Um, we'll come back to that the next time to see what they're saying. I think that it's where does the teacher work? I will a nurse a cobar and an hospital. Does the nurse work in the hospital? Um, who works in the kitchen? So we'll do these next time. Right, there we are. So the takeaway from this is Clarich is Clark, not singer. Okay, so there we are. Well, we've covered a lot today, so that's a little bit. We'll come back to this. So it's just so I can get the practice of speaking. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back again today, tomorrow, or the next day, with more. All right. So tapalet agus chiri and rasta.